Greetings, Fright Nights. It's your old pal Count Jackula, the Plaid Dracula.
And I'm the Horror Guru.
And for today's vlog, we saw DEATHGASM. And as you can see, I kind of liked it.
Yeah, it's a pretty fucking amazing movie.
Yeah, let me drink my coffee, which is black
like your
like
metal
my soul.
Oh man, so for those of you who don't know, DEATHGASM is a glorious film by the Kiwis over in New Zealand.
Yep, New Zealand film. And thank God for fucking New Zealand.
Yes.
Because, god damn it, I'm watching... All right, so the other day we saw a movie called Final Girls, which was a vlog that we did...
on my channel.
For
you can probably see it right here.
Yep, there's a link right there.
Okay.
And in that one, we were saying that, like, man, they didn't go... It's a good movie, but it feels like it's being held back by the fact it's PG-13, so it can't go all the way with the concept.
Because for those of you who don't know, that it was supposed to be like a homage to 80s slashers, but it had no nudity and no real gory violence whatsoever. Not even like simple like head decapitations.
Yeah. Very PG-13.
And if they do happen, they're like off screen. So this movie was a breath of fresh air after that.
This was the polar opposite. So
this was straight up Evil Dead, Dead Alive, just like the goriest of the gory films.
Yeah. The only thing that kept them back obviously was budget and time. Yes. It was not intent. Like, you can tell that this is a movie where they're like, dude, if we could have filmed this fucking climax outside while it is literally raining blood, they would have.
They totally would have.
They completely would have.
Evil Dead remake style, they totally would have.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Evil Dead remake, another good example of a film that's more like. Jesus.
Yeah, the gore is very fun.
Very fun.
You know, it's not intended to be disturbing so much as just gross.
Which was funny.
Yeah.
There's some horrifying things, but mainly it's funny.
Yeah, the movie is extremely funny. And god damn it, I found myself going like, thank God for foreign countries, man. Because once again, we're back in that fucking era where like America cannot make like a truly horrifying movie worth the fuck. You know, like Green Inferno notwithstanding. That's the exception.
That's an outlier.
Yeah, that's the exception. But like everyone else, it's like, oh God, so fucking clean. Yeah, that's right, Cat.
You meow, Cat.
You mourn for the metal. You cry for the metal.
The death of gory cinema.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we probably didn't mention it yet, but it is a heavy metal exploitation horror film.
Yep. It is an homage to the heavy metal Summons the Devil movies of the 80s, like Trick or Treat or Black Roses.
Black Roses, yes, good examples. Rock and Roll Nightmare.
Rock and Roll Nightmare, yeah.
Absolutely. It's basically one of those movies, but with characters you actually care about, who actually grow. Humor that is really on point.
Yeah, and the metalheads are the heroes.
Yes, and the one thing this gets right that a lot of those movies don't is that it 100% just gets the entire metal underground world like spot on.
Oh yeah, you can tell these guys came from that world. They
most definitely. You know, there's a lot of cool references throughout. If you are a metalhead, like they reference like lyrics from songs as one-liners and stuff.
Yeah, there are references to specific performers.
There's awesome shirts and like little like badges that people are wearing on their outfits.
A lot of Cannibal Corpse posters in this movie.
Cannibal Corpse. You got some Gore. There's even like horror film references and stuff like that. Like one guy's wearing like a Bad Taste shirt, obviously inspired by Peter Jackson when they're making this movie.
Oh well, yeah, you're in New Zealand.
Yes,
come on.
Oh, I mean, who else? If you're making horror films in New Zealand, who else can you worship?
Yeah. Like that's he's your guy. He's
absolutely.
Peter Jackson's your man.
And there's parts where they're literally like the main character has like a stack of like CDs he carries around, which are all like metal albums, everything from like Trivium to Cannibal Corpse to Mayhem, whatever you fucking want. It's all every color of the metal rainbow is represented in this movie at some point.
I love the fact that the older the band got, the more antiquated the medium it was on.
Yes.
God, because you're
Judas Priest is on a tape.
Yeah. Judas Priest is on cassette.
Yeah.
You know?
which is great, and there's a great moment where they have a realization based on like Rob Halford. It's like, we gotta play it backwards.
Yeah.
It's like it's just, if you are a metalhead and you're a horror fan, this thing is catering to you just every step of the way.
Yeah. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. It's great.
It is the best of both worlds in one movie, and the soundtrack is great. The band that the main characters play are not that great of a band, but the soundtrack accompanying everything else is pretty great.
Yeah, they even kind of like they didn't harp on this too much, but they even touched upon the old rivalry between gangster rap and heavy metal.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of that.
Like that's chilled out in recent years, but back in the 80s, that was like that rivalry was real.
Most definitely,
it was super real. So if you're a guy who kind of liked both, you're like, oh geez.
And I like how there's a lot of like, if you're a metalhead, you're probably used to not being seen as anything but a monster when you're in school, and they definitely
got that. They totally got that.
Also, like, heavy metal has a nice, strong connection, especially particular types of heavy metal with like Dungeons and Dragons. So that comes in.
Yeah,
that comes up.
A lot of D&D references.
You have your kids that are into it because it's awesome. You have your one kid that's into it because his life just fucking sucks. And he's as they put it, he's chaotic neutral.
Yeah. This is a guy who basically his life got such a raw deal that he's just turning into an asshole.
Absolutely, 100%. You got kind of like your normal, just kind of geeky fat guy who's a bit of a. He's the kind of guy who makes all the sex jokes and shit.
Yes.
It's pretty great. I fucking love fat guy, but as you know, I always kind of like the fat guy in these kind of movies. Oh, I wonder why. He was great. He's the drummer. And they start a band.
Yeah.
The band is called DEATHGASM. That's why it's called DEATHGASM.
Yep.
And I guess we should probably put a spoiler warning here.
Yeah, it's spoiler time.
Stick your cock up her ass, you motherfucking worthless cocksucker.
So, basic movie is they find an old rocker who lives in town who was like at one point legend and then completely entered obscurity.
He released like an album that had like 666 copies only and then just disappeared.
Yeah, and in like the metal community, like this man is legend. It turns out that guy lives in the town.
Yes, he's hiding out there from someone. Yeah,
and so they decide to break into his house to see if it's really him and maybe steal some of his shit. Yep. That's another thing about the movie I kind of liked, which is it paints heavy metal fans in all of their goodness and all of their awfulness.
Well, the two main characters kind of represent the two sides of the fandom.
They do.
You have the main character who's just, life's just kind of shit on him. He's kind of stuck in this conservative rut of a family.
Yeah.
And like metal kind of gives him this nice little power fantasy to escape from just how powerless he feels in life.
Yeah.
But he's relatively a good guy.
Yeah, but he's a good guy.
He cares about people around him. He's a good friend. Like he doesn't want to hurt anybody. He just wants people to stop hurting him. But then you have his friend Zach.
Yeah, his friend Zach, who's like basically a nihilist.
Yes, just completely. Like, he is self-destructive. He alienates all his friends. He's constantly breaking shit and just causing miscreant behavior. He's stealing things just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
That's just what he is. There's a point where he literally gets in the way of the main character and his love interest.
Yeah, he breaks the bro code.
Yeah, he totally breaks the bro code. Not because he wants to fuck the girl that the guy's with, but just because he was bored. Like, that's the kind of guy this guy is. He's a complete asshole, but he's also the kind of asshole you want in your corner when a fucking zombie demon apocalypse comes.
Yeah, exactly.
Zombie's a bad word. It's more demons in the line of like Evil Dead. Like, they're straight up like flying and like twisting their heads and saying awesome shit.
So the reason this rocker is hiding out is because he has found this ancient sheet music called the Black Hymn.
Yes.
And the Black Hymn summons a very specific demon and his army to Earth.
And it's basically like a really, really slow, doomy black metal song that they get it, they steal it because he gives it to them, and then like some cult leader shows up and just fucking like cuts the guy's head,
kills him.
And they get away with the hymn, and they're like, well, let's turn it into a song for our band. So they learn the hymn and they play it. and they end up summoning a demon and all his minions, which take over the town. And now it's up to them to basically clean up their own mess.
Yeah. All right. Now, there's probably another very important thing that you're probably wondering, which is, Jack, why are you just letting the cat meow like that? It's because the cat is a motherfucker. I love him.
He just won't
but
stop.
It just does this.
He wants outside, but it's late at night and
there are raccoons around.
So we'll
he
let
killed
him
a
out.
rat. Well, he captured a rat earlier.
Yeah,
that Linda
yeah.
had to rescue from like his fucking claws and teeth because he just, oh my god,
gonna
that
tear that
cat
thing
is
apart.
just fucking.
You know, so he's gonna meow for now. Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
he's just
I'm not
gonna
even
do
sure
it.
if you're picking it up, but if you are, know that there's a cat meowing over there.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
He will be let out at 6 a.m. as always.
Absolutely.
Until then, he could sit there and meow.
Okay, so the main character's name is Brody, right? I'm remembering that.
Yeah,
correctly?
yeah, Brody.
It's been a couple hours since we watched it, so I'm trying to remember. His name is Brody, and he's in love. He's not necessarily in love, but he's definitely infatuated with this one girl at school who is dating his bullshit, like just total dude bro.
Yeah, it's too like bullshit
Tool
dude bro tool fucking
cousin.
Yeah. And the guy's just like the worst kind of fucking
and she's
motherfucker.
obviously miserable with that guy, but he's the only game in town.
Yeah, and like the thing about like his cousin is that he's obviously like his aunt and uncle who he's forced to live with are like these really like super like holy roller people, but like his cousin is like the bad son of these two fine upstanding citizens, so he gets away with everything.
Yeah, and he comes across like fucking Fred Durst or something.
He does. He does come up
complete
like Fred
like
Durst.
dude
Yeah.
bro like obsessed with rap music kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know, even like I think he wears like a backwards hat.
He
most of
does.
the time.
He does. I
and
really feel like they made him look like Fred Durst on purpose.
It's probably.
Yeah.
Probably. And that guy bullies him. Like he his cousin straight up bullies him, and his
Oh
family doesn't
god,
care.
yeah, like he's like an earring that he literally rips
Yeah.
out.
But the
No.
cousin's girlfriend like starts to take a liking to Brody, the main character, obviously because hey, he's interesting and mysterious.
Yeah,
you know?
he's a mysterious.
Everyone
new
thinks
guy.
he's scary, but I'm not afraid of him. Like it's one of those things, and they start to form a bond and all that stuff. And obviously everything happens with Zach, who just completely fucks him over.
Yeah.
But like what's great about this is that character in this movie could have completely been just kind of like a throwaway like prize for him to win at the end. But she actually grows into a pretty awesome character.
Well,
in herself.
yeah. She has like she doesn't have the main story arc, but she undergoes the most dramatic change.
Yes, and she ended up becoming one of my favorite characters of the movie because basically, like, she's totally not into like the metal thing or whatever, but it obviously fascinates her.
Yeah,
and especially this guy because like despite all his corpse paint and his heavy metal mystique or whatever, he seems like he's actually a very sensitive dude.
Yeah,
you know, so she's fascinated by him, and he like lends her a CD that he thinks she'll like, and there's a reoccurring thing with this character when he puts on his headphones and metal starts playing, he has these fantasies of being like an epic warrior on top of a mountain.
Yeah, he's got like he looks like a Frank Frazetta painting.
Yes,
like
exactly.
Two chicks, like writhing on the mountaintop
like
by his feet.
Straight up the Conan poster.
Yeah.
And shit. And she's listening to one of the songs that he gave to her, and she puts on the headphones, and she has the same fantasy, complete with chicks at her feet, like worshiping her.
Yeah.
And she's got like a badass axe, and she feels awesome. And then all of a sudden, she has like a metal awakening. And over the course of the movie, she starts picking up an axe, wearing leather jackets, and just kicking ass. Yeah. And she actually probably kills like the most zombies next to Zach.
Yeah, she has the highest body count.
Yeah,
you know, as far as like,
and she's pretty rad. And by the end of the movie, she straight up like dyed her hair black, and she's got like an awesome tattoo of her metal persona.
Yeah,
from her vision, and that the main character designed for her.
Yeah,
because he's actually like he likes to do like album covers and things like that.
Yeah, because and that was one of the little details that I really liked about the movie was the connection between heavy metal and like fantasy art.
Yes,
and like really shitty fantasy art that you write on like fucking loose leaf paper and shit.
Yes, but I will say this: his art was probably a little too good.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was one of those like, oh my god, like it's as if like the main character was essentially like a like I don't fucking know, like an Alex Pardee, who happened to also be in a metal band.
Yeah, and you could tell like
he was a better artist than guitarist, almost to the point where I feel like he should have been doing album art the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you could tell that they got like a guy who's actually an artist to do all that
absolutely,
work.
and it's fantastic. The art is
Yeah.
great. Like the entire aesthetic of this movie is fantastic. It's very trimmed down. It's not too fancy, but like the kind of griminess of it just really it really adds to it. It almost it feels like you add like some like cool like texture effects or whatever, and you feel like you're actually watching a movie in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it really feels like a movie. And that was another thing. Like it was a movie that was obviously set in this timeless era.
Yeah.
And you don't really notice it at first until you realize, wait, no one picks up a cell phone.
Yeah. No one really picks up a cell phone, even when shit hits the fan. So that's like a invisible thing that you don't really notice, but your brain does. You also notice that like most of the cars are kind of oldish.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really set in any particular period. Like they're picking up vinyls, CDs, and tapes. And like the girl has like a CD player, not like an MP3 player.
Yeah.
So like for all intents and purposes, the movie could be taking place in like the mid 90s.
Yeah.
You know,
it really could.
And I kind of like that. I kind of like that it wasn't like completely super modern, because metal, as much as I love it, it really isn't super modern. It is kind of proven to be a bit of a timeless thing over time.
Yeah,
you know.
like,
so to have the movie represent that was
yeah. Like, I mean, I really feel like Ask a Ninja got it best, said it best, which is like, hey, if you remember heavy metal in the 80s, you weren't there.
yeah.
Which is, I always love that joke, because I'm like, yeah, that pretty much fucking sums it up.
Yeah, pretty much. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Fuck. Let's see.
I liked how
yeah.
I liked how the oh, never mind. Go on. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, if you want to like a little like tidbit on something kind of like the cool fucking hilarious gory ass scenes you get in this movie, there is a scene where two characters essentially fight off a bunch of demon possessed Evil Dead-esque Deadite things with giant black dildo and giant anal bead. Yeah. In slow motion. So you're watching it like just slap the face and just like blood coming out. This big fucking like massive black dildo that's like a fucking club in itself.
Yeah.
That's the kind of movie this is.
Yeah, the movie absolutely acknowledges heavy metal fans and the fact that for some reason they are both made somewhat nervous but obsessed with penises.
Yes.
You know, it acknowledges this.
Well, I just love that there's a point where he just straight up like starts beating the fucking like demon by like shoving the dick in his mouth so hard his jaw rips off. Which is like, I never thought I would see something like that. That was kind of awesome.
Yeah, it was super awesome.
It was really fucking
super awesome. You know, like, why? He just, goddamn.
This guy like gets like two chainsaws and like straps them to his arms and just starts fucking like going like ninja on everyone. That was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
God damn it. There's a point where like the guy uses like his guitar as a weapon. He attaches like a drill to the end. It's
yeah. So it's kind of like Driller Killer, you know.
Absolutely.
Or not Driller Killer, but some part of Massacre 2.
I'm not even sure if that was an intentional reference, but it felt like it might have been.
It felt like it might have been, yeah, because like,
it was pretty fucking rad. Because there's a lot of references to a whole lot of things throughout this movie, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Would not be surprised. God.
Oh, what I was gonna bring up is, because this is a New Zealand film, one of the actor who plays the teacher, you might recognize from the movie Housebound, where he plays the social worker.
Yes.
You know, and in this one he plays a teacher.
Yes. And he has a pretty fucking gnarly scene.
He has a really gnarly scene.
Like I know we're in the spoiler territory, so we can talk about it, but he basically has a scene where he's just straight up shits rivers of blood while he's teaching, and then turns around and just projectile vomits gallons upon gallons of blood on this poor girl.
Yeah.
Who's just basically like, teacher, are you okay? And he just whips around and just straight up like Exorcist vomit, but like done, but it's like Exorcist vomit, but done like a couple frames too long, so it becomes hilarious.
Yeah. Well, the thing I thought was actually this was one of those like, hats off to the effects team, because that shot is done full face towards the camera. And if you know how vomit shots are usually done, there's usually a tube on the side of the face, so you can only get it from one angle. That's
I was
why...
wondering if they had applied to like some sort of fake cheek over it to make it work.
Yeah, and then like
you see the mouth.
Yeah, like it full on comes out of his mouth, and you're like, I don't know
or if they digitally removed like the pipe. It couldn't.
Yeah, they could have done
because
either.
there is some digital effects in this movie, but honestly, none of it really bothered me.
No, not at all. Not even close.
Like even like the digital blood spray did not really bother me because there's enough real blood that it kind of just blends in.
Yeah, it's the kind of CGI that's done to enhance what's already there.
Absolutely.
You know,
and plus it's not necessarily intended to be scary so much as hilarious most of the time, so it doesn't.
So it might, so it might actually help to like make it look like super fake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but like that scene where the guy like vomits on the girl and you watch it happen, I was like, oh my god, like that. Well done, done.
Absolutely. God, I kind of liked like the love-hate friendship between Brody and Zach.
Oh yeah,
you know, like
so good.
Zach completely like fucks him over multiple times, but at the end they still have like this metal bond.
Yeah,
that lasts till the end. God, do we want to spoil like what happens to their friendship, or do we want to leave that for them to find out for themselves?
I don't know, man.
I will just say this: wait till the end of the credits.
Yeah. There's a bit at the end of the credits, which is
beautiful,
beautiful, just awesome. It completes the movie. I actually feel like it's actually like required.
Yeah, it kind of is.
You haven't watched you don't watch the movie till you get the last joke after the credits.
Most definitely, it's perfect. It's fucking fantastic. In terms of like awesome references that happen throughout the movie, there's a point where their drummer loses his arm.
Yeah.
You know, for all you Def Leppard fans out there. I love that whole bit where he's like he first meets Zach and they're at like the record store and they're checking out these like vinyl metal albums, and like he accidentally is like flipping through the 80s section and he pulls up like a Poison thing, but he's not really looking.
Yeah.
it's like a Poison, I forget which one, but it's
fucking I know that album, but I can't.
Yeah, me
right
too.
Now.
I remember the image, but I forget which album it is. But he's holding up the Poison album, and like and Zach's like got like a Cannibal Corpse or like a Mayhem or something like that, and he like looks at the Poison thing and just like, yeah. I was like, that was perfect.
Yeah. The metal snobbery. It's like that's hair metal. This is the real.
The point where he like he leaves the group and he's just like death to false metal. Like
yeah.
That was awesome. Every time they did something awesome and they just looked at each other, brutal as fuck.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Fucking the oh god, the moment where like the main character kills his cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Like his cousin walks in, he's like, "What's going on?" They have just been fighting zombies like left and right. His cousin comes in, fucking dude like that cuts him in half with a chainsaw,
and he's not possessed.
Yeah, he's not possessed.
He's clearly not possessed. And then his friend's just like, you know, he was obviously not possessed. He's like, I don't know. It sounded like he said "Hail Satan," don't you think? That's what I heard. And then they're just like, okay, well,
all right, now just move on.
And this guy has been such a douchebag throughout the movie that you're kind of cheering when he gets decapitated.
Yeah, you're like, no, give it to that guy the worst.
Absolutely.
You know, like that guy's like such a fucking asshole. Like,
he's probably the one who makes like everyone makes his life hell, but out of everyone, that guy obviously made his life the most hell.
Well, like the scene where he like beats the shit out of the
god, and like rips out his earring,
and like fucks his face up.
And I love that they didn't shy away of making him look fucked
up. No. Like, look, it looked bad.
And that was also and to dig that nail in deeper, that's also like the same night that happens is the same night that simultaneously Zach is totally hooking up with the girl that wants to be with Brody, but Zach leads her to believe that Brody's not interested.
Yeah,
because Zach is a dick.
Yep,
he's a dick. But at the end of the movie, he becomes your dick. He becomes our dick.
You know? Yeah. He becomes someone that you're like, well,
he's the dick you grow to love. Like he's kind of Han Solo-esque in that way for the movie.
Yeah. Not quite as likable as
Han Solo. Not likable at all.
Yeah, but that's the role he fills.
He definitely has that moment at the end where he completely abandons everyone and then shows up in the last minute and just like, I missed you guys. Like,
yeah,
you know. But he can't quite admit that's why he's there, but it's obvious.
Yeah. And I kind of like how even in the end he's not really the villain.
No. He as they say, he's
chaotic neutral. Like I was like, oh, you just flat out said it.
I love that entire exchange where like the geeky D&D nerd guy, who's the most stereotypical nerd out of everyone in the group. There's a point where he like, in order to gear up to fight people, he puts on Hulk hands.
Yeah.
Which is fucking great. And this character, when Zach and he get in a fight over the girl, and Zach just like fuck you and just leaves, and death to false metal. Like he's just like the nerdy guy's just like, I kind of calculated this would happen, man. Like he's chaotic neutral and you're lawful good. So this is you guys were just not compatible.
Well, I love the idea of basically like subtly equating, because everyone knows there is only one character class which is ever lawful good, and that's Paladin.
Yeah,
I like the fact that like for some like they're somewhat equating this heavy metal guy with the Paladin.
Oh yeah, he's kind of like a paladin of metal. You know?
Yeah,
He is good. He does fight for the side of good. He makes the one mistake of summoning the fucking demon.
Yeah. Which he doesn't even believe will
But here's
work,
the ironic part.
You know?
His life was much better by the time that demon thing was over.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it actually did help his life, because now everyone that made his life miserable, fucking dead.
Yeah. Gone.
And his
Gone.
girlfriend's with him, and they're happy, and they're going to start another band, maybe. You know, it's pretty rad.
Yeah. Oh, God. I love how they go through, like, the whole process of naming the band.
Yes.
They just
it was like unicorn sperm or something.
Yeah,
like
unicorn. How about unicorn sperm? I don't know. How about just
like 15 S's? That was my favorite suggestion.
Yeah.
How about just like 15 S's? So like Fat Guy. Love Fat Guy. Fat Guy was great.
Oh man.
That moment where it's like introducing that character, and it's just like in 8th grade he was suspended for like violating the CPR doll or something.
Yeah.
This is a movie about a bunch of just miscreants. So like, if you're not down with watching a movie about miscreants who kind of break the rules and do bad things, but they're still the heroes, then you're not gonna like this movie.
Well, at that point, you're not metal.
Yeah,
so,
you're not
like,
fucking metal.
What are you?
Not fucking metal at all.
No. No, not even close.
Jesus Christ, this movie was fucking awesome.
It was really fun.
I've seen, like, I know I say this like every few months, like I see a movie, I'm like, this is my favorite movie of the year. Well, right now, this kind of is my favorite movie.
Well,
of the year.
like it's been a really good year for those kinds of things.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, like
I think I said something similar with Green Inferno, but like it just got topped because now my two loves are in one movie, and it's actually a really good movie.
Yeah.
Unlike Black Roses, which is more of like a bad movie I enjoy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, or like Heavy Metal Nightmare. Oh.
Rock and Roll Nightmare. Yeah.
Oh, right. Rock and Roll Nightmare. Sorry, I said
Trick or Treat's the same way.
Oh, my God.
Or it's like a bad movie I really enjoy.
Yeah. God damn it. The problem I have with with, you know, fucking
the
Ozzy Osbourne's Trick or Treat movie, not the Halloween one.
Yeah, the Ozzy Osbourne one is Trick or Treat, and the other one's Trick or Treat. It's a small distinction, but it's really important when you're picking up the movie.
It's really important if you're picking it off the shelf.
Yeah,
because the problem with Ozzy Osbourne's Trick or Treat is that that's a movie you watch and then you forget you watched it.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking
it becomes
of
a fever dream after a point.
It does.
It's like,
because,
did I dream that? Like,
yeah, because like I'm trying to remember. We watched that like a month ago.
And it's really misleading because it's like Ozzy Osbourne straight up on the cover. And it's like, oh, Trick or Treat, Ozzy Osbourne. But he is like a small faction of that movie, and he's not even in the makeup he is on the cover.
No,
like
no.
He plays like a preacher on TV for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, and you look at that and you think, oh, Ozzy Osbourne's gonna play Satan or something. Like
Gene Simmons has more of a role in that movie than Ozzy.
Yes,
but it's referred to the Ozzy Osbourne Trick or Treat. Like,
I don't even know, dude. Like I don't what was. God damn it. Like, the problem is every time I try to think of the bad guy in Trick or Treat, I'm like, man, I wish I was watching Shocker right now.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the funny thing is that like Shocker. It was one of those post Elm Street movies that was really trying to be Elm Street.
Yeah.
But like in a different way. It's like, well, what if we do Elm Street but with heavy metal?
Well, that would have worked if they had like a heavy metal demon who's really iconic looking. That
absolutely, but they didn't.
Really gotten behind.
They didn't.
No.
I love that movie, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
This is not.
No, DEATHGASM was legitimately good.
Fucking fantastic. It gave me everything I wanted and more. Because I knew I wanted awesome heavy metal references and music and fucking a gory ass fucking film. But what I also didn't know is I wanted this awesome story about these two friends, these two unlikely friends that bond together. Yeah. As well as this kind of awesome little cute little like romance story.
Romance between normal girl becomes heavy metal chick.
That scene when they're on that fucking bench and he's like totally decked out in like black metal garb, complete with the corpse paint, and like they got ice cream together and they're like licking the ice cream. It's like that wide shot and he looks totally out of place, but she's really into him. It's just adorable. As a matter of fact, I fucking love the entire like black metal-esque music video they do together. Where they just go in the woods and just shoot random shit of them like wielding swords and like pretending to slice each other's necks.
Oh my
god,
that
was hilarious.
Oh god, that part was so good.
You're
like, oh man, nailed it.
That great point when the drummer is like just carrying his drums into like the fucking forest, and he's just like looking at the geeky guys like, I fucking hate you.
Because of course the geeky guy's the camera operator.
Yeah, of course, of course.
It's like, I think we need to move to the next location. Fuck you.
There's a great scene where the geeky guy is basically their keyboardist, but he's also got like a whole like electronic setup. So he starts playing dubstep at one point. They just throw all their shit at him. Yeah, it's just like, fuck you.
And I guess that's part of its timeless quality. It does
because dubstep is there. Like
They're references to modern things, but like it's one of those movies that does the thing that I was saying it kind of needed to be done for a while, because
it's horror like what movies, It Follows did.
Yeah, because horror movies got really, really obsessed with cell phone logic, either to get rid of the cell phone or to squeeze it in where it just kind of didn't work. Whereas I'm like, look, if the story is going to be destroyed by a smartphone, then smartphones don't exist in that world, because at that point nobody's going to notice for the most part. Why? Because you take the smartphone for granted in your daily life. So if it's missing, you're like, you don't really notice. You don't really notice if the story doesn't have one. You're like, oh, well, why didn't they use their smartphones? I'm like, well, then why aren't you watching the movie?
And about the only point in this movie where you could argue like a cell phone would really have helped the situation is when they're trying to find each other. That's about it.
That's about the one point it would have.
And you would at least buy, like, here's the thing. You would buy that blonde girl probably has a cell phone. Maybe geeky guy.
But everyone else is such a scrub, you can't imagine.
Like Zach is so fucking poor that he probably doesn't have one, and it doesn't sound like Brody's family really cares too much about him, so I doubt they would get him one.
Because you can't have this fucking story work as an homage to metal and share MP3s on a laptop.
MP3s don't even come up in this. I was kind of happy about that.
No, it's
because if you're a metal fan, you want that art, whether it's on the CD, whether it's on the tape, or whether it's fucking on the vinyl album. You want that art because that art is part of the aesthetic of metal, and metal is not just music; it's also an aesthetic. It's a lifestyle. It's a dress style. It's all those things, and there's many variations of it, but it's all part of the package. And this movie got that.
Yeah, it totally did.
Absolutely,
it totally did. You could tell the guys the people who made this movie,
absolutely
really were part of
like the fucking scene. Awesome like metal transitions where it's like metal up your ass.
Oh my god!
It was like
dude, the fucking title sequence. Is great.
When they did scene transitions, it would be like almost like cheesy Batman stuff where like the. But instead of that, it's like a satanic symbol popping up and like whoa, like playing. At one point it's like transitioning to a montage. So this thing is just these titles just pop up on the screen. Metal up your ass. It's fucking great.
God,
there's a point where he literally shoves a chainsaw up someone's ass and screams that.
Metal up your ass. yes,
Like, a great Metallica reference. Fucking awesome. So I don't know.
Deathgasm,
Yeah.
you should absolutely watch it.
Deathgasm, it's fucking metal.